This program is brought to you by Emory University.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to our final webinar of the summer. My name is Tanya Willard. I am the Director of Orientation for Emory College of Arts and Sciences, and on behalf of all of my colleagues in the College of Arts and Sciences and all around campus, we want to welcome you to Emory. We're really excited to have you join us in just a few short weeks. So our topic for tonight's webinar is class registration. So we're going to be covering that. We're going to be covering OPUS, putting classes in your shopping cart. So all of those things that you all have been asking questions about on Facebook, we are going to try to answer all of your questions tonight. So a few housekeeping items before we get started. As you have noticed, there is a chat box on the left of your screen. Please feel free to post questions there. If you joined us for previous webinars this summer, you will remember that we've had students and staff members here answering questions throughout the webinar. We are not going to be doing that tonight throughout the presentation because there are a lot of details in this presentation tonight, and we really want you all to pay attention because Steve here is probably going to answer most, if not all, of your questions during the presentation. So instead of you asking a question and then making sure it gets answered, we just want you to pay attention. You can ask a question, and we're going to be taking note as we go along, but we will not be stopping to answer your questions individually in the chat box during the presentation. So we're going to take about 30 to 45 minutes. We have a lot of ground to cover tonight, and we will leave as much time as possible at the end to answer your questions, but we'll be here probably for about 45 or so minutes. And I think that is all I need to cover to get us started. So I'm going to turn it over to our presenter tonight.
Hey there, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Steve Savage. I'm in charge of communications in the Office for Undergraduate Education at Emory College, and we obviously met 2 weeks ago when we did the first year academic requirements. Tonight we're back at academics. We're coming around the idea of class registration and OPUS, and let's get started. Class registration and OPUS. Just quickly, what we're going to cover today. We are going to recap some of the information from our last session, just some of the important facts you need to know for your first semester at Emory. We won't cover everything. If you want to go back and watch that webinar, it is available on Blackboard on the left-hand navigation of the PACE course. We'll have an overview of the class registration process. We'll look at the college catalog, the atlas, and OPUS, how they interact, what each of them are, and their functions. And then we'll move on to the piece that I'm sure you're all eager to hear about, which is the shopping cart, how to use that, how to prepare for your faculty meetings in August. And then we'll come around and look at a couple of real-life examples where I'll add some courses to James W. Dooley's shopping cart. So some of the important facts to remember, you can only enroll in up to 19 credit hours in your first semester at Emory. You are required to take the PACE 101 course and the Human Health 100 course. And your standard load for fall 2012 is expected in most cases to be around 18 hours. That works out as four credit hour courses plus the 2 1-hour mandatory courses. So here are some dates for you. Summer 2012, all of you should have started to look at the PACE Blackboard course. We saw the question pop up in the little chat box earlier asking about summer reading. This is your summer reading. Please take it seriously. Please keep up with the work as it comes in. It will benefit you greatly. On August 25th, orientation begins. You guys arrive on campus, move into your dorms. And then the following day, the 26th of August in the evening, you'll meet with the orientation leaders. And their jobs that evening is to listen to what you want to do, try and give you some pointers as you prepare to meet your faculty members the next day. So the morning of the 27th, you'll meet those faculty advisors, and you'll talk through your individual goals. And then the day you have all been waiting for, Tuesday, 28th of August, you will enroll in classes. This is the day before classes begin. You will have 2 different enrollment times, and we'll look at where you can find those times when we get into the OPUS demonstration in a little bit. Your first appointment will take place between 8:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. Your second appointment will take place between 12:30 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. and you'll have assigned times for those appointments. In the first appointment, you'll be able to register for 10 hours. That is 2 academic courses, 2 4-credit courses, plus health and PACE. And then in your second appointment, you will enroll in the remainder of your hours for the fall semester. One thing to note is all first-year students must enroll in health and PACE, and we will be pulling information from OPUS to ensure that you all do. If you don't enroll in those courses in that first slot, you will be added to those courses at times that may or may not suit your schedule. You will be added where there's space, so it's vitally important that you add them at the times that you want to take those courses. Just a warning ahead of time. On the first day of class, we go into an open enrollment period. We call it add-drop swap. During this period, it takes place over the course of a week. You will have the opportunity to change into classes or out of classes which do not meet your needs. You decide you don't like the professor, you don't like the subject, whatever the reason is, you will be able to move your schedule around. You may not get into the classes you want immediately on the first day of registration. That's okay, because space in classes opens up during add-drop swap for you to move into. One thing I want to be clear about, because I know that students do get confused with this, swap does not mean you're swapping courses with other students. Swap means that you have a course on your schedule and you're swapping out of it into another course. Don't think this is something where your friends can hold a course for you and move in. You can't do that. That is not the purpose of swap. Swap is a function within OPUS. Okay, so that is the enrollment details. We've covered that. I want to talk about a couple of tools that help you plan for course registration. The first of which is the college catalog. The catalog is essentially our official guidebook. It contains all of our policies, all of the courses that we will ever teach at Emory. It has some campus life information. It's essentially the agreement document between the student and the college that when you come in, these are the services we provide. The course descriptions you find in the catalog are very brief. They give you a general overview of what the course teaches. It also covers majors and minors, number of hours required to complete them, the specifics on majors, what you need to do to complete a major, and you can find it at college.emory.edu/catalog. When you go to the link, you find the following page. The yellow section on the left just shows the sections, the different top-level sections within the catalog. The green section gives you specific information about departments and programs, majors and minors. And then the blue section highlights where you can find those general descriptions for the courses that we offer. When you go into the section on majors and minors, I want to highlight this page specifically. This page gives you all of the general information you need on majors and minors. The yellow box at the top just points out there are different majors in the first 2 columns, minor in the last column. The BA or the minor or the BS or the word minor are all links and takes you to the specific requirements for those subjects. If you look down to biology, you can actually take a BA or a BS. And so the number appropriate to the BA is to the right of the BA, and the number for the BS is to the right of the BS degree. If I was to select art history and click on major, which is a Bachelor of Arts, a BA, this would be the page that it would give me, and this tells me specifically everything I need to do to complete that major. And so this is something just to keep in mind when you're looking at courses. You want to look at courses which satisfy general ed requirements, and also courses that may put you on a path toward a major or minor in a subject that you're interested in. The course atlas. This is the document that you refer to most of all during the course registration process. It's found at college.emory.edu/atlas. It's a list of all our courses offered in any given semester, and it provides more detailed information than the catalog. You will find things like class meeting times, who the instructor is, the course's OPUS number, which becomes very important when we get to the OPUS piece. And it also contains a more specific description, for the semester. It gives you sometimes the assessment for the course, and it also lets you know which books will be required for that course. So when I go to that web link and present it with this page, we obviously have a history of course atlases, so you can look back over previous semesters to try and work out which courses will appear in which semester, fall or spring. We obviously want to go look in the fall 2012 because that's what you're interested in. When we click on fall 2012, we're presented with this page here. You can see all of the subjects in the center of the page, and on the left-hand navigation you have the option of searching by requirement or by first year student. When you click on first year student, it's going to take us to this page. And this page is a list of courses which the departments have marked as appropriate for first year students. There are some 100 level courses, there are some 200 level courses, even some 300 level courses that departments have marked as appropriate for first year students. This is a great page to go to try and get a feeling for the courses you should be taking in your first semester. Obviously, it's very general, and you may have experience, which means that you should be taking 300 level courses, but this page is a great indicator of where to start looking for your courses. You may have clicked on by requirement. You may be interested in finding some courses which satisfy GERs, and you can use this list here to find those courses. These will pull up all courses, so if you click on HAP, you will see all of the courses that satisfy HAP and not just those that are first year appropriate, so be aware when you're using that page. Okay, so that is the structure of the course atlas, and I want to take a little bit of time and just look at the anatomy of a course atlas page. There is a lot of detail, and all the information that is there for a reason. It's there to help you in the course selection process. So at the top of the page, in kind of the light purple box, we have the course number, PALS 100-000. PALS 100 is a course number, and the 3 zeros would be the section number. The title of the course is in light blue. The bright blue line is important. It says that this course has been designated as appropriate for first year students. So that's always something to look out for. It's not marked in blue, it's highlighted in blue here to draw it to your attention, but it is just in text above the main course box. Within the course box, you'll find the instructor, where the course is being taught, when it's being taught, if it satisfies a GER, number of credits, all that sort of good stuff. The yellow box is the OPUS number. And we're going to come back to this. It's really important that you keep track of OPUS numbers because it helps you find courses in OPUS easier. It's much easier to use a course number than it is to search OPUS without it. The pink box below that just gives you the general catalog description I mentioned earlier, and then the bright pink box below that gives you the semester-specific instructions. And so that includes the required textbooks, it includes the grading information when it's available. In this case, it hasn't been posted yet, but TBA generally means that someone will post it at some point before the semester starts. Although not always. These pages are managed by the department, and so the department is responsible for the content. So here's another example. This time I chose an upper level course just to highlight that it doesn't say the appropriate for first year box, this course would not be appropriate for first years. In any case, if this was a course that you were interested in, it's worth a conversation with your faculty advisor, but just be aware that we try to mark these courses as appropriate or not to benefit you when you arrive at Emory. So, a couple of really important notes. A lot of our courses will have multiple sections. A lot of the general introductory level courses have high demand, and so rather than having very big classes, we tend to have a lot of smaller classes. The example I've given here is Italian 101. Because there are different sections, each of the different sections has a different OPUS number, and so when you are looking for courses, just be careful to get the right OPUS number. For example, Italian 101 000, the number is 1907. Italian 101 003, the number is 1910. So just be careful with that. Here I just want to highlight, when you're looking in the course atlas, you can see all of the course sections listed on one page. The examples I've given are the Italian 101 courses and the PACE course. Important note 2. We try our best to keep the course atlas as up to date as possible, but our data source is OPUS. We pull all of our information from OPUS. And so when we begin to make changes, when we change instructors, when we change course meeting times or locations, that change is first made in OPUS, and it can take up to about 24 hours for that to be reflected in the course atlas. So you may have seen a course in the course atlas that you want to take, and you've got the details. You just want to confirm those details when you put the course into your shopping cart, just in case there have been some changes. This can affect your schedule because OPUS won't allow you to enroll in conflicting courses. So that's just one piece of information for you. Awesome. OPUS, I'm sure you're all very familiar with. You've been using OPUS to receive your admissions decisions. It's where your registration bill is. It's where you've updated your addresses, your email addresses, all that good stuff. The web address, just in case, is opus.emory.edu. And really what we're getting to the heart of here is choosing classes in OPUS. And there are two main ways to find your classes in OPUS. You can search by the OPUS number, or there's a search function. And the search function is quite advanced. You can search by day, by time, by instructor, by location, by GER. There are a whole lot of different variables you can use. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk through two. And we're going to use two very different methods to search for courses. We're going to look in Anthropology 101, and we're going to use its OPUS number to find it. And then we're going to search for Math 111, and we're going to look specifically for a certain section, date, and time. So if you give us just a second, we're going to switch over to a live demo of OPUS. We'll be right back with you. Okay, so I am hoping that you can currently see OPUS on your screen. If anyone can't see OPUS on the screen, then let us know, but I'm pretty sure you can see it. I'm going to log in as everyone's favorite eternal student, Dooley himself. Dooley. Awesome. And so when you log in, you will see something very similar to this. It's your landing page. You have your student center, your financial information, addresses, and so on and so forth. I want to highlight a couple of boxes here just on the page. The first box I want to highlight is your academic advisor. We haven't yet assigned academic advisors. We are in the process of matching students based on the many surveys you've taken with appropriate faculty members. We're trying to match everyone with an advisor within the fields that they're interested in. Sometimes it's not possible, but we are doing our best. Those advisors will probably appear around a week or 10 days before orientation once we have those lists finalized. So that is where you will find the information for your advisor. Above it, you will see this box here that says enrollment dates. Now this is the information you want to know. This box will specifically give you the times when you can enroll. So let me just click through. So Dooley is a little bit different. Because I'm using him tonight, I had to give him slightly different enrollment times so I can show you the process. And so where you see certain things that refer to July 25th, you won't have that information when you click through. So Dooley's first regular appointment is July 25th in this first box. And then the regular academic session starts July 26th. This is your eligibility to use your shopping cart. And so that means tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., the shopping cart will open up for all first year students. And you will be able to use the shopping cart to add courses that you're interested in for the fall. Next down we have the enrollment appointments. Again, Dooley has an enrollment appointment open now because we're going to use him tonight to show you how to do the process. And then he has two further. One on August 28th at 7 a.m. It's 7 a.m. because he's Dooley and he gets to enroll before everyone else. And then his second one is at 12 noon. Again, is before you guys because Dooley gets to enroll first. His first appointment is set at 10 hours, which is how your appointment will be set. His second appointment says 22. Yours will say 19. Dooley is a regular student. We have him enrolled somewhere in classes all over the university. And so he can take 22 hours. You will be restricted to 19. And then below that, you'll see open enrollment dates by session. Open enrollment dates is the official name for Add Drop Swap. Add Drop Swap opens on August 29th and runs through September 5th. Now, let's try and add those classes. There are two ways to enroll within OPUS. If you're looking at your enrollment times, you can click Add Classes. Add Classes only appears when you're in an enrollment appointment, and it will take you to a screen similar to this. If you don't want to look through the enrollment appointment box, you can click the word up here that just says Enroll. Dooley is obviously active in summer. You will only see fall 2012. And when I click Continue, I go back to the same page that I was on before. The two courses we were going to look at Anthropology 101-000 using OPUS number 3232. So let me just do that, 3232. Great. So what we have here is we have the information required for the course, Anthropology 101-000. It is an open class. If the class is full, you will see a blue square and the word closed. If it's open, it's a green circle and says open. So I want to add that to my shopping cart. So select classes to add. Let me click next. Anthropology 101 has been added to the shopping cart. That easy, just like Amazon. Okay, now we want to find another class to add, and this time we want to use Math 1. We want to find Math 111 that meets at the following times: Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10:40 till 11:30. Because we're not using the class number, we can't use that box. So we would use class search and then use search. Okay, and so we're looking for math. If you know the designation, you can type it in. If not, you can click select subject and it will give you the menu. We know it is exactly 111 that we're looking for. This box here says show open classes only. Let's keep it checked because if it's not open, we don't want to add it to our courses. And then we're pulling down the additional search criteria. So this is where we can add start the meeting time, and we would say 10:40. Let's leave the end meeting time blank and include the days Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Search. So what that's done is that has found every section that starts after 10:40. And so we wanted to find 10:40 till 11:30. We would hit select class. We get the same information as before, and we would hit next. And now you can see we've added 2 classes to our shopping cart. We have both Anthropology 101 and Math 111. Now what you won't be able to do tomorrow is go through to the next phase. And so I'm going to demonstrate what will happen when you start to enroll. So Dooley has decided he wants to be in both of these classes, and so we proceed to step 2 of 3. You have the request to confirm that these are indeed the classes that you want to join, and so they both are. And when we hit finish enrolling, when it finishes, it does finish. And so we have 2 check marks, says that we're now both enrolled in Anthropology 101 and Math 111. If for some reason you couldn't add the class was full, or you had a time conflict, the green check mark will be a red cross. And then you would need to go back and find some more information. So, time to go into some question and answer. Bear with us just as we move on here.
Okay, great. We are going to move into the question and answer period. And one thing before, while I'm letting some of the questions start coming in, one thing I want to make sure that you're all aware of is that it's wonderful that you all are communicating with each other and asking each other questions, but don't forget that you're all in the same boat. And you may be answering questions incorrectly. As an example, someone a little bit ago asked what the minimum number of classes is, and somebody answered 10, and that answer is not actually correct. The minimum number of hours is 12. So please keep in mind that when you're asking each other questions that you all are new students. And as such, you don't have all of the completely accurate information, which is why we're doing these webinars and why we have email addresses. So when you go onto Facebook, into the Class of 2016 Facebook page, just bear that in mind, that you are taking a risk when you ask a question, and that all the answers that you're getting back are from students who are in the same position that you are. So we encourage you to take advantage of our hotline, the 727-9000 phone number, or our email address, which we'll give at the end of this. Moving on, one thing that I think may not be clear, you jumped right into it, is what is the difference between a shopping cart and entering classes into a shopping cart, and then the enrollment appointment. So students have access to their shopping cart tomorrow morning, but that doesn't mean that they're enrolling in classes.
No. When I was going through the process, you saw that there was 3 steps: step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1 of the enrollment process is the shopping cart. It means that you will have access to the course atlas in OPUS. You will be able to go through the process of adding a course to your shopping cart, and so it's kind of in a holding place for you. But if you were to try and click proceed to step 2, you're going to be given an error message. You can only go to step 2 during an enrollment appointment. And so the difference between the shopping cart and the enrollment appointment is the shopping cart is you collecting the courses that you think you want on your schedule, and the enrollment appointment is actually adding them to your schedule.
Okay. See here. Questions about appointment times have been very popular everywhere the past few days. How are student appointment times determined?
Student appointment times are determined almost randomly. I say almost because there is one group of students whose times are not random, and that group is the Emory Scholars, and they have the earliest enrollment times in both groups, the 8:30 and the 12:30 time. All other students are randomized, and so the idea is that you will have one early appointment within your enrollment block within the first appointment and a late one in the second, or you'll have a late time in the first and an early time in the second. The idea is to make it equal for everyone, that you have one early and one late, and so you have a chance to get some of the more popular classes onto your schedule.
Could you maybe reassure those students who have later appointment times, who may be feeling that they're at a disadvantage by having those late appointment times?
Yeah. Yes. Having a late appointment time just means that you will choose your classes a little bit later than some of the other students. It doesn't mean the classes will fill up. A lot of our introductory classes, there are many sections, and those sections have a lot of spaces. When you look in OPUS, you'll see that a lot of classes look closed right now. That's because we've artificially closed off the classes to upper class students to reserve spaces specifically for you guys. So our intro science classes, some of our intro humanities and social science classes, we have closed off. You'll notice that all of the freshman seminars are closed off because they are only for first year students. And so the idea is that there will be space for you. You will have a full schedule. You will be able to take the classes that will help you along your career path. What I would say is there are some classes you may not get in your first semester, and that's okay. You have 8 semesters. You have fall, you have spring of your first year, specifically around freshman seminars. There may be some freshman seminars you really want to take this semester, but they fill up very quickly. There are a lot of good freshman seminars taught in the second semester. We try to split the class half and half between first semester and second semester for freshman seminars. And so my advice would be, don't stress, don't worry. Speak to your faculty advisors, come in and speak to the advisors we have in the Office for Undergraduate Education. You will end up with a good schedule for fall and a great schedule for spring. And we will do our best to help make your academic experience at Emory all that it can be.
Oh, precious. Do all classes have seats reserved for freshmen?
Not all classes. A lot of the introductory level classes and some of the 200 level classes. I think the best rule of thumb is when you're looking at the list of courses which are marked in the Atlas as appropriate for first year students, chances are there are spaces in those classes reserved specifically for you guys. When you get to upper level classes, because the departments they are for upper level majors, chances are there are not seats, or there are fewer seats reserved for first year students. Yeah.
Great. Let's see. How many classes can students put in their shopping cart tomorrow?
You can put as many classes in your shopping cart as you want tomorrow. There are a few schools of thought on how to deal with the shopping cart and how to add classes. Some people add a lot and then whittle down the number of courses in the shopping cart to the courses that you really want. Some people start with just the courses you really want and then we'll add some later. It's entirely up to you. What I would suggest is that by the time you're meeting with your faculty advisor, you've brought that list to the courses that you really want to get into, or the courses that you're thinking as potential reserve or backup courses should you fail to get into one of the courses that you really want to get into.
But just to clarify,
Yeah.
if they put a class in their shopping cart, that does not reserve them a spot in that class.
It does not reserve you a spot in the class. The shopping cart is like Amazon. When you put a book on your wish list or in your shopping cart at Amazon, it doesn't mean the book is coming to you. It just means that you've added it there, so it's easier to find when you do click checkout.
Excellent analogy. Let's see. There were some questions back when we were talking about PACE and health. Mm-hmm. And should students register for PACE and Health 100 in their first appointment time? And if they don't, and they do it in their second appointment time, what happens?
You should register for PACE and Health in your first enrollment time. That is why we give you 10 hours in the first enrollment appointment. 10 hours is equal to 2 4-credit classes plus Health plus PACE. There's no other reason for us giving you 10 hours. The reason for that is space and health and pace do fill up quickly, and so you need to make sure that you get them on your schedule. And what you don't want to happen is for other students to then, wait till your second enrollment time, work around some of your other courses, and then find that you have no room in your schedule for health and pace. Now, both the PACE program and the health program will work with you to get you into a course that works for your schedule, but it's a lot easier on you if you get them done quickly.
Okay. And then just to clarify, there's a question that just came up right now about if students have to worry about PACE and health getting filled, if they'll get blocked out of space in those classes.
There are enough spaces in both of those classes for every single first-year student. You're required, all first-year students must take them in their first semester, and so space isn't an issue. You just need to make sure that you get enrolled in the appropriate course for the time that you have available in your schedule.
And I just want you to reinforce what you said at the beginning. If students do not, for some reason, enroll in those classes, someone will put you in those classes, and it may not be at a time that works that great for you.
That is true. If you do not enroll in those courses and it gets through the enrollment times and we end up courses started, we pull a list daily of students, and you'll start to get nasty emails from the dean of the first year class, some of his staff, potentially from me, and I don't like writing nasty emails, so please don't make me. And then we get down to the wire, and essentially at the end of ad drop, if you have not enrolled, we will enroll you. And we'll enroll you where there's space, and that could very well be at 8:30 in the morning, which is not where you want to be.
Good point. There was a question a little bit ago if there's a way to place out of Health 100 if they are certified as EMTs or they have some kind of other certification.
There is no placing out of Health 100.
Okay, that was a shorter answer than I thought. I have heard that the sound cut out when you were talking about whether or not putting classes in your shopping cart saves you a space. So
Okay.
if you can go back and answer that.
Yep.
And the follow-up to that is, by putting classes in shopping carts, does that mean that that's taking actual spaces out of that class? Does that affect,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
No. By putting a course in your shopping cart, it does not hold you a space in that course. The analogy I gave is like Amazon. Just by adding a book or a movie or whatever into your Amazon shopping cart doesn't purchase the book for you. It makes the checkout process a whole lot easier. It's a way of you containing courses in one space, which is easy for you to enroll in. So it doesn't reduce the space in the course, and it doesn't hold you a space in the course.
Perfect. Do upper class students, are they enrolling in classes now? Is Add Drop Swap open to them right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
So that would explain perhaps why Chen Yang has looked at OPUS and seen that a language class, the number of seats has dropped today.
Yes, that does happen. Once Add Drop Swap let me back up. Once we have finished enrollment for regular students, Add Drop Swap is then open until the start of semester. And so you might look at a course today, and it might have 5 or 6 seats open. Tomorrow it might have 4. The day after it might have 7. Really, what I want to say with that is, don't worry when you see numbers of seats fluctuate. They fluctuate all the time, and they will do that until the end of Add Drop Swap. So the question we're often asked is, none of my courses have seats. I can't get into any of the courses I want to get into. Our common answer to that is let's just wait a second and let's kind of back up, because chances are seats will open. Each year it happens. Each year we have a bunch of students who'll say, I really want in here, but there's no open seats. And by the end of Add Drop Swap, they're into that course. So please don't worry about it. Add Drop does help, and don't let anyone tell you it doesn't.
Good point. These questions are coming really fast. Can you talk about why some of the classes, this is for Olivia, why are some classes not 4 hours? And I'm just going to stop there.
Yeah. Some courses are not 4 hours because of the nature of the course. All of our academic courses are, for the most part, 4 hours. Our PE, our physical education courses are 1 hour courses. Our intro health and our PACE course are 1 hour. Because you meet less frequently during the week. For example, PACE and health, you meet for one 50-minute session each week, where your academic courses you're meeting for 150 minutes per week. And so because of the time in class and out of class, the expectations on you preparing for class or not preparing for class, whatever the case may be, weigh into that decision. And so that's really why classes weigh. Some are 4, some are less. But you will find that I'd probably say about 95% of our classes are 4 credits.
Okay, great. There's a question about science classes,
Yep.
and when you are registering for classes with a lab, do you register for the lecture separately from when you register for the lab?
You will add the lecture and the lab to your shopping cart separately, but what you will find is you will not be able to complete your registration for that course if you do not have both components. And so if you put the lecture course in your shopping cart but not the lab, and when you try to check out during your enrollment appointment, it will reject the course because you haven't added a lab. The same is true if you were to pick up a lab and not the lecture component. Yeah.
Okay, great. There's been some questions about permission numbers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. All of our courses, you'll find when you register in OPUS, you'll have this box that says permission number. You can ignore the box for the most part. There are some courses that you'll find their course number would be, say, political science would be, an example, political science 385, and the section number could be 000 or 001. Sometimes you'll find it's O1P. O1P just means it would be a permission-only class, and so the instructor would give individual students permission to register. And so that P in the section number would be your indicator that you need permission from someone to take the class, usually the instructor or someone within the department. You tend not to find permission-only courses at the lower levels that you'll be registering in. Sometimes there are a few, but for the most part, they are upper-level courses. If there is a P in a course that you do want to take, my advice would be contact the department directly, and they'll be able to give you more information on the permission-only aspect.
Okay. For students that are interested in taking foreign languages that do not have a placement test, I believe
Yep.
that we covered this at your other webinar a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
How do they know which classes to enroll in? What level?
Okay. Yes, some departments don't have placement tests. I would recommend that you contact the departments directly. Some of their websites actually have information on what courses you should enroll in, but it's always safe just to contact someone and ask. Usually in the case of departments with no placement tests, their placing is based on prior experience. If you've taken AP, it tends to be you'll place higher than if you've only taken, say, 2 years of the language. So yeah, contact the department and they will give you all the information you need.
Okay. Lots of questions about textbooks and when to buy textbooks.
I would not buy textbooks before you know which courses you're enrolled in. I know that you're enrolled the day before courses. Do not fear. You're not usually expected to have textbooks for the first day of class. Instructors usually finalize their textbooks the day before they start teaching. They may have published them ahead of time, but something might happen over the summer. There may be a brand new, better book that they want to use. And so when you go to class on that first day, you'll be given a syllabus. And on the syllabus, it'll lay out the core textbooks that they expect you to have. Either you purchase them, you rent them, or you have some other form of access to them. And then they usually give you a list of supplemental reading that you can either find in the library or you could buy the books. It's entirely up to you what you do with those ones.
And I don't know if you know this for sure, but there was a question about renting textbooks, which I think is going to be available this year for renting textbooks.
My understanding is Barnes & Noble, who are our campus bookstore, they piloted textbook rental in the spring and over the summer, and as far as I'm aware, that will happen again in the fall. But I would check with the Barnes & Noble campus website. or give them a call, and their information will be on the main Emory website.
Some of these questions that are coming through are things that we covered in your last webinars,
Yep.
particularly about foreign languages and whether or not students have to take foreign languages during their first year or their first semester.
No, foreign language courses you can take at any point in your Emory career. You need to take 2 consecutive semesters or 2 consecutive levels. So if your first semester was a 102, then you take 201 in the following semester, or if it's 101, 102, however that works for you, depending on where you place. But you can take that in your first year, you can take it in your 4th year. Most students, I think, try to have it done before the end of their sophomore year. But again, it's whatever works with your schedule. Maybe it doesn't work until your junior year. Whatever works best for you.
Okay. And can you quickly remind everybody the classes that they do have to take their freshman year?
Yes. In your first year, there are 4 courses that you need to take. You need to take PACE, which is Pre-Major Advising Connections at Emory, and your health course in your first semester. And by the end of your freshman year, you need to complete your first year writing requirement, and it is satisfied either by English 101, English 181, or Comparative Literature 110. And you need to take a freshman seminar. And these are all, for the most part, numbered 190. And you need to take one of those. And you can only take one of those. So you can take a freshman seminar in both semesters. So choose wisely.
Great. Let's see. Are students allowed to take 2 freshman seminars?
No.
Okay. That's
1 freshman seminar.
easy enough. All right. And I think we are winding down, but there have been some questions. And again, we've covered this in a previous webinar. So if you still have some questions that we didn't answer tonight, it's very possible that Steve covered it in the webinar 2 weeks ago. But one thing that's come up, and I think it is worth repeating, is submitting AP scores, and how do students know if we have received them, and how can they check to make sure they've received credit for AP and IB credit?
Yep. It is your responsibility to ensure that Emory receives your AP or IB scores, or your A-level or French baccalaureate, whatever it is, by the end of your first semester. So by, I think it's December 20th is the end of semester. So those scores need to be with the Office of Admission. It's your responsibility to get them there. Sorry, can you remind me what the rest of the question was?
The rest of the question was, how do students know if they are getting credit for their AP, IB credit? Can they make sure that we have their information?
Yeah. When you log into OPUS, one of your first options, where I clicked enroll earlier, one of the options there is view transcript. If you use that option, view unofficial transcript, I think. When you click on that button, it'll take you through, and your AP and IB scores should be posted there. Yeah.
Okay. All right, this is going to be our last question, and there's quite a bit of chatter going on about it right now on the chat box. But what's so great about a freshman seminar? What sets it apart from other classes they may take during their freshman year?
A freshman seminar, they're all taught by permanent faculty at Emory. They can be very senior faculty members. In most cases, they are. They are topical in nature, and so they change each semester. You tend not to find the same seminar taught more than once or twice. It could be something from the professor's research interest. It could be something very topical. One example is, every 3 or 4 years we have a math and election seminar where someone from the math department gets together with someone from the political science department, and they talk about all things election and math. And so it's your chance to interact with some of our best professors. Not some of our best professors, some of our more renowned professors, are elderly statesmen almost. And it's just a chance for you to do something that's a little bit new, a little bit original, a little bit different, in small groups. Our freshman seminars are capped at a maximum of 18 students, although they tend to sit around 12 students. It is at the professor's discretion. So they may be a little bit bigger, but most are around 12 students. And so it's a chance just to interact in a small group setting. It's a great way to know your peers, great way to get to know some professors.
Yeah, the topics are really unusual.
They are.
There are usually a handful of freshman seminars that I would like to take.
There was a Harry Potter one, I think, last year. I think it may have been spring 2012. There was a freshman seminar in Harry Potter where you got to read all of the 7 books again, which I would have loved to take.
Yeah.
So.
And with that brings us to the end of our webinar and our webinars in general for the summer. If you have questions that we did not get to tonight, we apologize. As you can see, there have been a lot of questions coming through tonight. You can always contact us at our email address, which is ecorientation@learnlink.emory.edu, or you can call us at the orientation hotline, which is 404-727-9000. At the very end of this, we're going to put up one final slide, and there's a poll on there that we'd love if you would give us some feedback for our webinars for next year. What are some things that you wish we had talked about during the summer in our webinar series? It won't help you this summer, but it'll help the class of 2017 if we get some great feedback from you. So again, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you for joining us at our previous webinars. We look forward to seeing you in about 4 weeks, and we cannot wait to 4 weeks. And we cannot wait to see you soon. So thanks so much.
See you soon.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.